What is going on, everybody? Coming at you with some more One Piece gameplay. Again, I just want to give everyone a shout out. Thank you so much for all the support that I've been getting. If you do like the content, please ensure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Again, lots more One Piece content is going to come at you. Today's game is Ivankov against Monkey D. Garp, and we're going to see Ivankov open up with the Perona and rearrange their top 5. Perona's a great card in Ivankov, lets you find your pieces, and they're going to pass turn back to the Garp player. And so Garp is a really fun deck, lots of plays available, and they're going to go ahead and play the Monkey D. Garp first turn here. This card is really strong, I think, because essentially due to the effect of Monkey D. Garp, wherever you slot Dawn, you can just use it to this card to just pop characters on the board. So we're going to go ahead and see the Perona swing 5 at Garp, and then they're going to counter out the 5k swing with a Sengoku. And now because of the leader effect here, Garp having 4 Dawn active, they'll be able to slot 3 Dawn under their characters, or just slot 1 Dawn, really. Like the 2 Dawn and the Monkey D. Garp, this Perona is going to get deleted. They can swing life at 5, and then they can swing life at 5, and they'll still have 2 Dawn active, which is just such an important facet of this deck. Is this Monkey D. Garp can clear everything, and I think that you really have to mulligan for this card if you're playing this deck. So we're going to see the 2 Dawns slotted under Garp, and they're going to swing at leader to pop the Perona with the Garp effect. They're going to counter out of that with an Alvida, and then we're going to see a 5k swing from the Garp. And then we're going to see a blocker played, and then this blocker is just going to protect that Garp for an extra turn, so that anything that the Ivankov player plays will just not be able to deal with this Garp, and it will likely die the next turn. So we're going to see a new comma land come down. It's going to cycle through some cards here. They're going to pitch the Crocodile that they just drew, and they're going to swing at the Garp here, leaving 4 Dawn active. And this is a pretty easy block for the Rosinante here. And then they're going to drop a Inazuma Mr. Scissors. And now again, Garp doesn't really have to commit anything to board here, and they can just continue to minus cost on this Inazuma and continue to pop it with the Garp effect. Again, Monkey D. Garp is super good at controlling the board, so you really have to be able to deal with this Monkey D. Garp and stop it from being able to swing. And even if you do bounce this card, then there are other cards like Sakazuki that can just come down and pop your cards. So you really have to just play removal, and you have to deal with this Garp. You cannot ignore it. And so if you're in a position where you can't deal with this Garp, you're basically behind for the remainder of the game. And yes, the Ivankov hasn't conceded any life yet, and the Garp player has conceded 1 life, but the Garp player is very much in control of the game right now. So they're just kind of thinking about what the maneuver is here, and they're going to go ahead and slot 4 Dawn, it looks like, under their characters. So we're going to see 3 Dawn slotted underneath, 4 Dawn actually under the Garp, wow. And they're just going to swing at leader, and that's basically a free life there for the Garp player. And they still have 2 Dawn active here, and they're going to slot that under their leader here and swing, so they're down to 3 life, and now the game is even, and there's nothing on board for Ivankov. Now, if they did have the Ivankov in hand right now, they could drop it, but it looks like the blue player has not seen Ivankov yet. And if you're not seeing Ivankov by your 7 Dawn turn, you're in a pretty rough spot, and you can't really make anything play. We do see the 7-drop Luffy here, Crocodile in the hand right now, so they're actually going to opt to pitch the Love Beam off of the new comma land, and they're going to swing 5 at the Garp here. And are we going to see a counter out from the Garp player? Potentially. I mean, it's worth saving, but you have to worry about, like, is there going to be a Ivankov into Luffy play coming down here? Is there going to be some other kind of bounce? And are we just going to be getting rid of a card? Now, the thing about Garp is if he gets bounced, he's a 2k counter in hand, so it's a really, really strong card, I think, in this black deck. I think in, like, your traditional, like, Smoker or Sakazuki deck, it's not nearly as strong, but in this Garp deck, I think it has so much merit because you have so many ways to just negative cost on your opponent's characters, and as long as you can protect it, and they, you know, like against decks like Zoro, they have lots of rush characters, it's a lot different to protect it, but against decks that are a bit slower, like blue or green, it's not. But we're gonna see the Ivankov actually swung at life, and a Meteor Volcano is gonna be hit in life. Draw 2, trash 1, and that's pretty much the dream for Garp here. He's gonna make sure that he has all of his pieces, and we're gonna see his 7-cost Doflamingo dropped to bounce the Garp back, which isn't super ideal because now your opponent's going to 8. They can minus, you know, some cost, and then they can just drop a Sakazuki to pop your Doflamingo, which is pretty unfortunate. Not playing any 8-cost characters feels really bad, I think, against this Garp deck, because if they have no Kuzan on field, they have to play other cards to minus your cost before they can be affected by Garp. So I think cards that are above 8 cost are super important in this matchup, but even then, if they just drop a Suru on you, then they're just gonna pop you regardless. So I do think that a lot of slower decks have trouble against the Garp deck, because if they see their removal cards, you're probably not going to be able to keep a single thing on board. It might struggle against decks like Zoro because, again, they've got lots of 1-cost characters that they can just flood the board with. They have tons of searchers that can replenish the board, and then they can also they can just swing with rush characters and clear board. So we're going to see a -4 cost on the Doflamingo and swinging at life here, and that likely means that there's going to be a Kobe coming down to pop the Doflamingo, and they're going to pitch, what are they going to pitch here for the Kobe? Super rare Garp here, and then they're also going to play a Nami, which they pay the Dawn for, and then they're just going to pass back turn. Nami is great in the deck because you can give Rested Dawn, which just makes Garp's effect even better here. And we're going to see a Perona play to look at top 5, and they're going to bottom deck that because there still is no Ivankov. They're going to pay 1 for they're just going to use Newcomer Land to draw 1 trash 1. They're going to pitch the 7-drop Dofi. They're going to play another Newcomer Land, activate it to draw 1, and we're just going to make sure that it's not once per turn, so it's verify that it's not once per turn. And then they're going to pitch, looks like the Mr. 3 off of that, and they still have not found their Ivankov, so not finding Ivankov this late in the game is pretty rough. And not being able to make use of like pitching things is pretty rough. But they're going to play another Doflamingo just to bounce a Kobe, which I don't know. I think you probably just want to bounce your own Perona at that point, because bouncing the Kobe means that they can just do the exact same play as they did last turn to pop your Doflamingo. So I'd rather just bounce my Perona back to my hand, and then you have it for the next turn to continue searching for your Ivankov if you haven't found it yet. Because at least next turn, like you can dig 5 cards deeper, and then you can use Newcomer Land to find that Ivankov if it's not in those top 5 cards. So it's gonna die, this Perona, and then the Doflamingo is also likely gonna die because there's just so many cards in this deck that Garp has access to, and we know that there's a Kobe in hand. So we could see like a Kobe come down, we could see a Sakazuki come down, we could even see that super rare Garp come down, and the way that they're dividing up their Dawn, it looks like they have a Kobe and a Meteor Volcano in hand, so that could just mean dead board, and you love to see that if you're the red player here, the Garp player, because there's just so many plays that you can make on this turn to just destroy this board and go completely aggressive at your opponent's life while not really sacrificing a ton. So we're going to see a super rare Kuzan play to draw a card. Kuzan's great because he's basically like he basically replaces himself in your hand. And then we're going to see 4 Dawn underneath the Garp. They're going to use the Nami effect to place 1 Rested Dawn, and then they're going to play a Kobe to pop the Doflamingo, and they're going to pitch the Monkey D Garp from their hand, and they still have a 9k swing at leader here, which you got to take it. And then they're going to pass their turn back to Ivankov, and will we see an Ivankov? I think at this point it's way too late, even if they do see it. They're going to use Newcomer Land to draw 1, and they're going to pitch the Croc. They're going to do another Newcomer Land play to draw 1 and pitch 1, and still no Ivankov, so this game is looking pretty doomed, unfortunately. They could play a blocker, but it's likely just going to get popped because you can just -4 cost with the Kuzan swing here, and then they have 3 attackers, so you just pop blocker. They did pitch the Mr. 3 off of the Newcomer Land play. They're going to pay 6 here to play a Luffy, pitch 2 cards, and they're going to bounce the Kuzan here, and they're going to swing 5 at leader, and they're going to leave 3 Dawn active, it looks like, for maybe like a Deathwink or a Love Me potentially. So there's 1 card in hand, and it doesn't really matter if the Garp takes this or not, I don't think, because they should be winning the game. Because if you just swing 7 at your opponent and then you swing the rest at their life, they can't realistically ever counter out of that. So we're going to go ahead and they're going to swing Perona. And again, it doesn't really matter if you take this, but they're going to counter out with the Smoker. and that is the smoker that is the cannot be deleted by effects smoker, and it's a great card actually. I think it's one of the better black cards. For 3 cost, you get a body that's not going anywhere if you don't swing with it. It can't get bounced, it can't get rested, but against like decks like red and black, it can't be deleted. So I think Garp has a pretty rough matchup against just pure black because they have a lot of deletion effects and you can't delete most of their characters, like Borsalino, like the smoker, like the 5-cost smoker. And they can still delete a lot of your threats, like the 2-cost Garp. They can delete the Kobis, they can delete the Sakazukis. Yes, you do play the similar cards, but it's 5 life versus 4 at that point. They're going to swing 7 at life with the Kobe, and then they're going to finish the game with a 9k swing with the Garp. And they really should just load up fully. There's no reason to just leave those 3 non-active at this point at all. But it is game for the Garp player, and that is GG. Great showing from Garp again. Thanks so much for tuning in, and Montio.